At a time when overwhelming number of coronavirus cases brought the national capital on its knees, Tawasi Jain and her team set up a COVID help desk for the Delhi NCR region with verified leads regarding oxygen supply, plasma, hospital beds, food services, teleconsultations, and psychologists. These youngsters have assisted thousands of people with essential medical supplies as and when approached over call or text. NewsX proudly recognizes second wave superhero Tawasi Jain. Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Rishi. The ferocious second wave of coronavirus brought the national capital's healthcare infrastructure on its knees. Cremation grounds were full, hospitals ran out of ICU beds, and people were dying because of lack of something as basic as an oxygen cylinder. And at this time of crisis, a group of students from Delhi's Miranda House were constantly helping people with COVID resource leads. Today, on a brand new episode of Second Wave Superheroes, I have with me Tawasi Jain, a final year philosophy student. She's also the core member of a COVID help desk that operates in the Delhi NCR region. Her group has been helping out people with verified leads regarding oxygen supplies, plasma, hospital beds, and much more. Welcome on the show, Tawasi.
Hi, Rishi.
My first question to you is tell us about how it all began, what motivated you to take up this initiative of reaching out to people and eventually helping them.
So it initially began with our principal helping us set up with this help desk. What we did was we wanted to make a credible database for people to refer, and it was initially meant only for students of Miranda House and faculty and staff. But as the cases started rising drastically, we wanted to make it public. We did, and our numbers quite got circulated, and we started getting calls from everywhere asking for leads. And we, as and when we would get calls, we would share the leads with people. And we'd also posted the leads, like we would post on our social media handles in order for people to be able to access these resources. So that is about the Miranda House COVID Help Desk.
Tell us about how the help desk works. How do you verify leads? Also, because of the exponential increase in the cases, these leads would get exhausted very quickly, and people would stop taking calls. Like at one moment they are available, next they're not. How are you able to streamline the process in such a scenario?
That is very true. Like all the leads that we would verify would sometimes go redundant in 20 minutes also. That's how much the demand was. How we used to verify information, still do, is we text on WhatsApp, we call people, and we ask them if the resources are available. I am the oxygen support coordinator for the Miranda House COVID help desk, and I was looking after just oxygen. In oxygen, we were looking after oxygen cans, oxygen cylinders, refill stations, and uh, the kits, that oxygen kits like the flow mask and the regulator and stuff like that. So we would we I had a team of, I think, around 200 people constantly working on verifying resources just for oxygen. Our overall team was, after a point, it was not just Miranda House. A lot of students came forward and volunteered, and we were constantly verifying leads. But again, the because of the demand, we could not cater to everybody coming to us because resources were only so much.
Wonderful. How has the response been from the people that you were able to help out? And also, as much as you want to help out everyone, that's just not possible, right? So, and that takes
Yeah.
a toll on your mental health. How challenging was it for you to cope with such a situation?
Quite challenging, I would say. So we had we had so many calls incoming that it was impossible for us to help everybody. Very few people come back to tell you that your leads worked or that you helped them in any way. So it sort of got very disheartening because you at the end of the day it felt like maybe I'm not helping enough people, but there weren't enough resources to be able to help these people. It took a huge mental toll on all of us actually. uh, I remember when I think around the 27th or 28th of May, when the cases were rising exponentially, I had taken a break for 3.5 hours between 3:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. and I woke up to 567 missed calls. So that is how bad the situation in Delhi was, and it got it got impossible to be able to help these people, but it sort of makes you feel like you're not doing enough. So in order to cope with this, we one of the psychologists that used one of the resources from our leads, he reached out to us and he offered 24/7 pro bono therapy. And I would say he was one of the most crucial resources we had that at that point of time, and he was one of the reasons that we were able to function well. So, yeah.
My last question to you, Tawasi, it's what's next in the pipeline? We all know that COVID, it's not going away anytime soon. It's here to stay. A third wave is inevitable. How do you plan to take this initiative that you've started, take it forward?
So I live in a city called Coimbatore, and I have when situations started getting better in Delhi, it started getting worse here. So I set up a Coimbatore COVID Aid initiative over here, under which we have undertaken 4 projects. The first project is a help desk, which works similarly. We have been trying to collect leads, verify them, and make a database so people can come and access it. The resources that we are looking at is oxygen, medicines, beds, RT-PCR testing, food and tiffin services, teleconsultation, therapists and psychologists, and ambulance services. These are the 8 resources that we are taking care of. It is mostly centralized to Coimbatore, and we do plan to expand it to neighboring districts. That is the first project. The second project is a fundraiser that we have started in order to procure oxygen cylinders. We will procure these cylinders and give it to the Tirupur district administration. So these cylinders can be added to the pool of the government hospital cylinders, and the Tirupur district administration will be taking care of the refilling, the distribution aspect of it. They have also agreed that once, from what I've seen, this epidemic is quite harsh on areas that don't have a lot of accessibility. And the administration has also assured us that they will be circulated, like these cylinders will not be profited out of, and they will be sent to rural healthcare centers. The third initiative that we have taken is the food chapter. The food chapter is essentially to uh, connect families who are willing to share extra food with families who are quarantined right now. As of now, we are supporting 4 families, and we just started this around 10 days back. So we plan to be supporting more families. And the last that we're looking at is breaking down information. So there's a lot of panic around here. A lot of people don't know what to do when you test positive, and how to go about things, how to find a bed and stuff like that. So in order to break down this information, we've been constantly working with a team of 4 doctors, and they help us verify information. They themselves work with COVID patients. So we break this information down through our social media handles. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and our handle is called Coimbatore COVID Aid. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on NewsX, Tawasi. Kudos to you and your team.
Thank you for having me.
Keep up the good work and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rishi.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.